Good morning. I'm Dewey Dewhurst. I'm the chair of the Worship and Music Committee, and I'm here this morning to welcome Reverend Sophia Lyons, who is here today from the First Parish Watertown UU Church in a pulpit exchange with Rev Dave. Before this, she served at the UU Church in Haverhill, as well as the year-round island minister on Star Island, one of our faith's conference and retreat centers off the coast of New Hampshire. On Star Island, she both ministered to 120 young workers, otherwise known as Pelicans, and worked alongside community leaders to plant the Beloved Community Project. In the past several years, this project has accountably worked towards facing and dismantling oppression on island, while also doing exciting reconciliation and reparation work around Star Island's complex history. Rev Sophia also served as chaplain at Hebrew Senior Life, a long-term residential care center servicing those with dementia, and she's passionate about ministry, addictions ministry, spiritual development, and healing as a pathway to collective liberation. She lives with her husband and 2 teenage daughters in Watertown.
Well, good morning, everyone. It's really such a joy and an honor to be here. And I bring you big love and many joyful greetings from the First Parish of Watertown UU Church. And I say to you, welcome. My name is Reverend Sophia Lyons. As Dewey said, the pronouns I use are she, her, hers. It really is such a joy to know that Reverend Dave is with my people and that I get to meet all of you. Thank you for the loving and warm welcome this morning. And welcome to those of you who are joining us from home. I hope and feel your spirit is felt here. Welcome to those of you who are visiting this church, maybe for the first time. We hope all of you will stay for social hour downstairs following the service, a time to talk and connect and have good fellowship. This congregation first gathered in 1651, and this historic meeting house was built in 1789 on the unceded ancestral homelands of the Nipmuc peoples. Welcome to this place. The word welcome means a lot to us as Unitarian Universalists. It is our daily prayer, is it not? Welcome. Here we search for truth and understanding. Here we celebrate life and contemplate its mysteries. And here we share in healing and wholeness. So whoever you are, wherever you come from, whomever you love, we welcome you to this congregation. And now Dewey will speak our chalice lighting words.
Our chalice lighting this morning is Names of Love by Reverend Scott Taylor. We light this chalice in the names of love, the love of those who brought us into being, allowed us to bloom, and then sent us on our way with courage. The love of partnered hearts that teach us to trust and to help us to know that who we are does not end at the barrier of our own skin. The love of friends who help us feel seen and sing our song back to us when we cannot hear it with our ears alone. The love of community that bathes us in belonging and calls us to see the needs of others as our own. And the greatest love, the love that will not let us go, even in our fear, even in our failure, even when we are lonely or lost. Love invites us home. If we listen, it is doing so, even today. Thank you.
For this one moment, know only that you are loved and that you are love. Just breathe that in, my friends. Know in your bones that you belong here. Here among us, here upon this earth, in your body. You belong here. And however tired or broken your heart may be this morning, whatever fear, disappointment, anger you carry for this hour, know that you are not alone. Feel the presence of others surrounding you, my friends. Feel the presence of your siblings in this world surrounding you, breathing beside you and with you in harmony, in hope. Breathe this in, my friends. You are faithfully called to worship. And now won't you rise in body or in spirit and sing with me hymn number 347, Gather the Spirit. And now won't you join your hearts with my heart in a spirit of prayer. O God, whose very name is love, Spirit of many names and no names, of multitudes, we are so grateful to be gathered here in this place that we call a sanctuary for our souls and bodies and beings this morning. we lift up our thanks, understanding that not everyone has a place to call a sanctuary, a place where their beings and bodies can feel at rest. We also lift our hearts up in thanks and praise for those in our midst that we call friends, to those who love us and welcome us here to this place and teach us about love. We especially hold close in our prayers this morning those who are suffering in our midst and beyond, those who do not have what they need, and those who are in some kind of trouble. May this sanctuary of powerful love and soul touch these hearts so that they might know they are not alone. And we also pray that we might find the courage and strength for ask for what we need. May help be our only prayer when we need it. Let us all trust that there are hands and hearts ready to hold us and receive these our prayers of help. For all of the joys and sorrows named and unnamed today on the hearts of this community and on the hearts of our larger world, we hold them close. And won't you now enter into a time of silence with me? Please continue to pray quietly the prayers you need to keep on praying, or simply rest in it, my friends. That will be enough too. Courage, my friend, you do not walk alone. We will go with you and sing your spirit home. And now, won't you join me in singing our meditation hymn this morning, Spirit of Truth? The words are located in your order of service. Amen. And Dewey will now come up and offer our reading.
This morning's reading is Fault Line by Robert Walsh. Did you ever think there might be a fault line passing underneath your living room? A place in which your life is lived in meeting and in separating, wondering, and telling, unaware that just beneath you is an unseen seam of great plates that strain through time, and that your life, already spilling over the brim, could be invaded, sent off in a new direction, turned aside by forces that you were warned about but not prepared for? Shelves that could be spilled out, the level floor set at an angle, in some seconds shaking. You would have to take your losses and do whatever must be done next. When the great plates slip and the earth shivers and the flaw is seen, to lie in what you trusted most, look not to more solidity, to weighty slabs of concrete poured, or strength of cantilevered beam to save the fractured order. Trust more the tensile strands of love that bend and stretch to hold you in the web of life that's often torn but always healing. There's your strength. The shifting plates, the rest of earth, your room, your precious life, they all proceed from love, the ground on which we walk together. Thank you.
Thank you, Dewey. Trust more the tensile strands of love that bend and stretch to hold you in the web of life that's often torn, but always healing. There's your strength, our poet says. The shifting plates, the rest of earth, your room, your precious life, they all proceed from love, the ground on which we walk together. I love this poem, which arrived in my life right at the beginning of the pandemic, when truly the great plates had slipped. And I don't know about you, but those days and in these days, I need all the reminders through song and wisdom text and prayer, whatever, however, whoever. I need all the reminders and teachings that I can get about this kind of big and hearty and hopeful love that is always healing. Yes, please. And that makes up the ground on which we move together. Yes, please. Can't get enough. In our Unitarian Universalist faith, it loves talking about love. We all know that. Love is the spirit of this church, say some of our affirmations of faith in many churches. Side with love. Maybe you've got the yellow t-shirt. Oh, come together in love are some words of a piece of music that you often sing in this sanctuary. And soon we're about to sing the hymn, Love Will Guide Us. There's a UU favorite. And there's so many more sentiments and songs and mission statements rooted in love in our churches and in our UU communities. Yes, our faith loves talking about love. It is one thing we can probably all agree upon. But what exactly do we mean when we are saying love, love, love? What are we saying? What are we trying for when we sing and speak about love? I would say that the word love is not unlike the word God. It contains multitudes. Am I right? It's not easy to define. It means different things to different people. It's personal, right? It's wildly varied in its interpretation and in its expression. Some of us have had direct, spiritually transformative experiences of love, and others aren't so sure. Some of us have been hurt by it. Some of us have sworn it off. And some of us have been saved by it too. No, the word love is not unlike the word God. And also, just like the word God, my friends, the word love can be bandied about irresponsibly. It can be adhered to sloppily and lazily. It can be recited and received like a poorly defined platitude or a loosey-goosey concept that we are unaccountable to or choose to live by only when it feels comfortable or convenient. Something on the menu that we get to order or not order according to our liking, mood, or craving of the day. I believe we collectively as human beings are feeling the adverse effects of this kind of casual and selective love. Too many are not getting the love they need, and too many are not giving the love they have to give. And I often wonder if this casual, conditional, selective kind of love is in part, a product of our misunderstanding of it. So back to my question, what exactly do we mean? What are we saying? What are we trying for when we sing and speak of love? The great Bell Hooks writes in her book, All About Love, it's a good one, that, quote, when the very meaning of the word, she's talking about love, when the very meaning of the word is cloaked in mystery, it should not come as a surprise that most people find it hard to define what they mean and when they use it. Imagine how much easier it would be for us to learn how to love if we began with a shared definition. Hooks ultimately points to the celebrated psychologist and philosopher Erich Fromm's definition as her starting point, which is, love is an act of will. It is a verb, not a noun. Namely, both an intention and an action. It implies a choice, he says. We do not have to love. We choose to love. And Hooks says that ultimately this will, this intention, this choice to love is a blessed and balanced outpouring of care, affection, recognition, respect, compassion, commitment, trust, as well as honest and open communication, mixed all together in a kind of delicious, warming, hearty love soup, and served in plenty with the hope of nourishing not just another spiritual growth, but not unlike our moment for all ages today, our own as well. With this definition, I think it's a good one, good starting place. We can deduce, as Reverend Carter Hayward says, that love is a conversion to humanity. Or what else is all of this but a true return or a turning towards humanity, each other's and our own? This is as close a definition of love in all its mysterious multitudes that I'll get to this morning, so let's just hold it close. With this definition of love in mind, consider the prophetic wisdom of womanist and activist Adrienne Maree Brown, who tells us that if love were the central practice of a new generation of organizers and spiritual leaders, it would have a massive impact. If the goal was to increase the love rather than winning or dominating a constant opponent, I think we could actually imagine liberation from constant oppression. This is powerful love, hearty soup love that we're talking about now. It is what I call an ethic of love. An ethic of love. And so I will now ask you the same question that our larger Unitarian Universalist faith is also asking of us. What would it look like? And who would we be as Unitarian Universalists if this well-defined ethic of love really was at the center of everything, personally and collectively in our faith? Last June, at our General Assembly in Pittsburgh, which is where I came to know your blessed and remarkable minister, Reverend Dave, and I'm so honored to call him friend for life. At that General Assembly, history was made in Unitarian Universalism, and I sense some of you know about this already. We overwhelmingly voted yes to spend this year, which is almost up because we're going to have another General Assembly in June, tightening up revisions on Article 2 of our faith's bylaws. Now, I know some of you know a thing or two about this because I just saw them all printed out on the outside of Reverend Dave's office door. So, good. I won't preach to the choir too much on this one, but as a refresher and reminder, this section, Article 2, is where our religion's purposes are articulated. Right now, our 7 principles and 6 sources. These are our current guideposts for how to live and how to love together, how to put our faith in action, how to articulate to the best we can what we collectively coalesce around in this big, wacky old tent of wildly diverse beliefs and non-beliefs. And our young, prophetic, Unitarian, Universalist leaders have for years been telling us that we need a more fortified, better defined theological center point that can hold us if we're going to do and be collective liberation. That we need to get fluent about our faith, so that we can be the spiritually grounded and resilient people that we all want to be in this work and in this world. And while our principles and sources, they have always been my heart, I love them. Most of us continue to struggle articulating what it is that we Unitarian Universalists believe and are spurred forward by, what guides us and doesn't take an hour to explain. We're much better about telling people what we don't believe. Am I right? And this just isn't going to get us to the promised land. And so, in 2017, inspired by these prophetic youth and other wise leaders, our larger association's board established an Article 2 study commission, which spent years working with task force and leading congregational conversations and surveys and studies, all of which guided their proposed revisions about our faith's purpose, which was presented at that General Assembly back in June 2023. And some small tweaks and edits were suggested in this coming June. Our new purpose of faith will be officially voted on, and it is expected overwhelmingly approved. And this new language will replace our principles and our sources. Wow, right? What a thing to live through. And just for context, this change to Article 2 in our larger faith's bylaws, it's not the first revision. Our current principles and sources, they were adopted in 1985. A few revisions were made in 1995, but 1985 is when they came to us. And we had 6 different principles that we had held on to and loved that were established in 1961, and another set of purposes from 1936, and before then a set from 1887, and on and on and on. Let us not forget, thank goodness, that we as a faith and religion are ever changing, a living tradition. And in my mind, it's what makes Unitarian Universalism so very compelling and so very wonderful. So the foundation, this clearly defined theological center of our newly proposed set of purposes is, any guesses? Love. Love. That's the center. And here's the proposed wording that goes with it. Love is the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values. We are accountable to one another for doing the work of living our shared values through the spiritual discipline of love. It is the jet fuel that makes everything go. The center point, the hub of these are shared values, an ethic of love. And they've created this dynamic image. I know some of you have seen it. It almost looks like a flower, these arms stretching out from the center where we find the word love, surrounded by these shared values that pointedly show us how to live this love: interdependence, equity, transformation, pluralism, generosity, and justice. And as one of my colleagues, Reverend Peggy Clark, points out, love is at the center, the heartbeat, the life-giving force that animates all these other values. In this new articulation of who we are saying that love is our organizing principle, and from love or because of love, we live big, hopeful, beautiful lives, and we promote choices that accountably hold people up, dismantle racism and systems of oppression, heals our planet, supports expansiveness, inclusion, right relationships, spiritual seeking, and life in all its full and rich dimensions. This love truly is a conversion to humanity, a theological center point that can hold us all. And when our new UUA president, Reverend Dr. Sophia Betancourt, who is one of the most prophetic women, I believe, of our faith's time, when she was asked what she would bring to the role, her response was this: often as UUs, we shy away from theological engagement in the work of justice and in the work of welcome and in the work of right relationship one another. She said, I bring an understanding of how we can bridge collective wholeness and worth with radical, sacred, theologically hefty love. She told us that she wants Unitarian Universalism to be difficult. I love that. A faith with a promise of home and wholeness and dignity and community care that can't be swept away or made comfortable or easy to digest. That makes us work for it and can't and won't rest when our global siblings suffer or our earth weeps, or people who have been historically marginalized are telling us that they are hurting. It should be difficult. She said that we are not pledging as UUs to follow one teacher or leader or rhetoric. We are pledging to follow the work of faithfulness itself, a faith that teaches us to be risk takers, justice promoters, and love embracers every minute of every day. An ethic of love embodied. And so my prayer and message to you this Sunday morning is one I hope you will consider earnestly. What would our lives and communities and world look and feel like if love were at the center of everything? And that you were put on this earth to be an envoy of it. That is your purpose. What if love really was the organizing principle of every exchange you had, every email you sent, every decision you made. My God, imagine if love was the organizing principle in our local government. Or if, when making decisions, Congress or our Supreme Court asked themselves what the most loving choice would be. Imagine. What if corporations prioritized love over profit? What if love was the driving force, the central principle of every institution, every organization, every seemingly small exchange with your fellows in the world? Imagine the witness we could become in the world if love was at our center. Beamed inwards in the same way we hope to beam it out. Yes, we get to sop up some of that love ourselves again, as our moment for all ages taught us and our young ones. Love of our bodies and minds and spirits, our need for rest and care and joy, our conversion to humanity does not, my friends, exclude loving ourselves or asking for love. It requires it. It requires it. Us being envoys of love in the world requires us beaming it back into ourselves as well. And imagining this should feel easy and hard, almost impossible, inconvenient and difficult, as Reverend Sophia Betancourt says. But my friends, radical love, this kind of radical love and this belief in its possibility in the world is what we UUs are all about. And we love being radical, so hit it. And right alongside any other spiritual discipline worth its weight in gold, this takes practice and devotion, faith, failure, and nevertheless, persistence. There is nothing casual about this. And so I hope all of you will continue to choose it intentionally. Be it. Will it. Place your hope and faith in its healing power. That is my message to you this morning. And as our poet says, these are uneasy and tilted times. We feel beneath our feet and bodies the fault lines shaking and quaking. Trust, he says, in the tensile strands of love that bend and stretch to hold us in the web of life that's often torn, but always healing. There's your strength. The shifting plates, the restive earth, your room, your precious life, they all proceed from love, the ground on which we walk together. May it be so, and amen. And now George Lester will come up and tell us about this week's offering.
Okay, you may have noticed I'm not George. Today we're going to, he's not feeling well, so 3 minutes before I left, I was like, oh, can you do this? Today's offering is going to be split between our church and the food pantry. So in a few words, let's say, have you ever heard of the saying, a person's way to their heart is through their stomach? And consider this, by donating to the food pantry, you're not only filling stomachs, but you're also warming hearts. So let's be an envoy of love by giving generously to our church and our food pantry.
And let's now sing our closing hymn together. Won't you rise in body or in spirit and sing with me hymn number 131, Love Will Guide Us. My closing blessing to you, our benediction, is simply to take courage, my friends. The way is often hard, the path is never clear, and yes, the stakes are so very high. Take courage, for deep down there is another truth. You are not alone, and you are loved. And now let us all sing our closing response.
Share a sacred trust to live in light, to do the right, and grow in loving care. Amen.
Beautiful. I will now extinguish our chalice, but may its light and warmth stay in your and our hearts until we meet again. Here ends our worship. Let our service of love begin.